1, 2, 3, live.
And we are live. Welcome back, Sports Gambling Daily. We got a special guest in the house. We got Cody from Austin, Texas. You've probably seen Cody here on YouTube. I know you guys have seen him on MTV. And, this is the guy to follow on Instagram. What's up, my brother?
What's up, man? I'm excited to be here. I kind of stopped watching Sports Gambling Daily since there's no sports, but maybe I should start. Maybe I should start watching again. It's depressing, man. It's depressing, but it's cool to see that you guys are still active with your community because that's kind of part of it too, not just the picks, but the community. So sure. I'm excited to be here, though, man.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do any kind of picks right now. I mean, we're definitely not charging for anything at the moment, but. I mean, we're putting some horses together. But nothing crazy. Just out there having fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't really do anything about it.
You know, Joe, you'll appreciate this. Do you go to spring training, Cactus League?
Do I? No, I went a couple of years ago, but not lately. No, I haven't. But I've been there before. What happened?
Yeah, I go every year, and I was about to go, man, and they shut it down like a couple days before I was gonna fly out.
I saw that. You were pretty upset.
Dude, it hurts so bad, man, because the way I feel is like take away the fans, take away all that, but baseball especially is a sport you can play without transferring germs across everyone. Like whatever the players are doing right now, which I'm sure is just like a lot of training, they're not going to pick up any more germs playing games without fans than they would doing what they're doing today right now. Like, and it's just frustrating, but we'll see what happens. I just feel like they could be doing something productive where we don't have to wait so long to watch them play again.
They say they don't want to play without fans in the stands. That's what they've already come out and said that.
I think everybody said that. LeBron has said that, in basketball. I was watching it, but I think eventually, if the rubber meets the road, they're going to want to do something to kind of at least alleviate some of this that, fans have got nothing right now, kind of like a gesture. That's what they were saying on, I was watching some of the ESPN reporting. And I mean, LeBron, it's not the same. Yes, of course. But imagine getting a tournament in Vegas where everybody's quarantined. I mean, already the players on the Utah Jazz, they're all fully cleared. Rudy Gobert, that one that started all this mess, that, he's now fully clear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It just, the fans need something, and I'm sure the players are going to start feeling the pressure a little bit.
Well, I don't know. Did you hear what Kirk Herbstreit said? I think it was today. He said he doesn't think they're going to play this year in college football.
That's kind of that means that for that same reason,
like
NFL, then that means what? You have no NFL? Are you kidding me?
Okay, so NFL, I guess they're having reports saying that they're going to find a small area in the middle of nowhere like Nebraska or Oklahoma, and they're going to basically quarantine off this whole section, have all the teams there, and it'd be like one big college atmosphere, but just only having like an area for the broadcasters, an area for the trainers, area for the players and the coaches, and then you just sit there for 17 weeks, play football, and then you're done, and then you go into the playoffs, all in one little area in the middle of nowhere, United States.
Yeah, that's what they're doing in basketball in China. Obviously the outbreak hit China before it hit America, so they're kind of like a month ahead of us or something like that.
Right.
And they took off like 8 weeks from basketball, and then they're playing their playoffs. They're just going straight into playoff, and they're doing it just like how you described. So I'm hoping the NBA follows that, and then what we see is they pick an arena, and everybody stays isolated in their hotels, and they have some practice time, whatever, but they're not like having contact with anyone outside the organizations. Everyone's tested, everyone's cleared, and obviously you can't get it if you're not, rubbing shoulders with people that have it or going into an arena where nobody that has it has been in. So it'd be perfectly fine. You're not going to get ticket sales, but you're still going to make a lot of money, and you're going to entertain a lot of fans.
Yeah.
And there's just so many people rely on these sports for entertainment, for sports betting, like for so many reasons. Like just get something out there.
Well, there's
hopefully they can do that.
Yeah, I mean, so the amount of people that watch this stuff on TV will be through the roof. It'll break all the records, and it'll be almost like having a Super Bowl share every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the issue is so are we really going to have these guys? I mean, okay, imagine you're a player. You're really going to be away from your family that long? You're going to be away from your kids that long? I mean, you already know you're going to hear people like, this guy broke away and like went into town somewhere, like and broke curfew or some shit like that. Like, I just can't imagine you're going to be able to sequester all these people. And then what happens if one person happens to get it somehow, some way, and then he infects 2,000 athletes? I'm just curious how that would go down.
Yeah.
So here's another thing to consider. Like Rudy Gobert, however you pronounce his last name, he got it, right? So they're saying that you have it for 2 weeks before you show symptoms. So that means he had it for 2 weeks before he started showing symptoms and got taken out of that game against the Thunder. Right. How many Jazz players did he infect?
As far as we know, when you're playing, 2, right?
Mitchell and
Monday, I think his name Monday.
So how contagious is it because when you're playing pro basketball, you're sweating on your teammates, you're doing all sorts of things close to your teammates, showering with them, traveling in a plane with them. So like that to me is like, that's like an experiment where you can learn from that, where it's not contagious, where like you're guaranteed to spread the crap out of it like that. Because I feel like if you had the flu and you traveled for 2 weeks contagious with the flu, you would infect all of your teammates.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Like, so I don't know how.
They say this thing's a little more contagious than the flu.
That's what they say, but then how is it that only 2 other Jazz players got infected,
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe they're not telling us everything either. But then again, they probably are, because it seems like they can't wait to tell who's infected and who's not infected. So
yeah, that is true. You're right. I mean, but good points. I just think what Cody's good to add to his point, that it is true. I mean, if the NFL wants to, especially the NFL with so much money they have, and so they can do anything. I mean, we put a man on the moon, like one guy was saying on the sports this morning. I mean, you don't think we could put a whole thing like that together? Where they were talking about Vegas, where all the hotels are empty. Maybe the players bring their families and they're sequestered there for like 16 weeks or like a tournament, and they do it. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The player, all the hotels are all empty right now in Vegas.
Hey, if I'm a player, I'm like, get me away from my family. Let me just hang out by myself for 17 weeks and just chill.
Yeah, so but it's
I
true.
think that's what most football players do anyways. Like 90% of the guys on these rosters, man, they're not moving their family to the city they play for, because the amount of dudes that have job security long-term with their NFL team, it's like there's only a few on each team anyways.
Yeah, so speaking of that, like, unless you're like Tom Brady or one of these big names that sign a long-term big money deal, I don't know how any of these professional athletes buy houses, because you can get moved the next year. I kind of feel bad for Chris Paul. I mean, he came to Houston, bought this huge mansion, and then gets shipped off to Oklahoma City.
I would not feel bad. I would not feel bad for him financially. They're making so much money, bro. It's not even an issue. But it is interesting to think, though, of like the guys that make like $500,000 in some of the sports. Whenever I came out of high school and college, like the guys that I knew that got drafted to the NFL or played baseball, one dude got drafted to the Jets, and it was interesting because it's like the amount of money he was making. If he went into like the Titans or the Texans, his paycheck would go so far in Houston. But in New York, it's like it wouldn't get him hardly anything.
Right.
That's pretty interesting to think about. But
yeah, I'm surprised more athletes don't try to go to either Florida or Texas, just because of the state income tax. There's no state income tax. I mean, that's a huge gain right there, in my opinion.
Well, Vegas, now you can come to Vegas. The Raiders, no income tax there.
Oh, there isn't?
Then Vegas has no state tax at all.
Oh, nope. I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Las Vegas, because the casinos pay for all the state. A lot of the revenue comes from the casinos.
All right, Cody. So everybody that doesn't know, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. I got to hear this MTV story. You talk about it on Instagram from time to time. Tell us what's up. How did you even get into that?
Yeah, so coming out, so I'm 26 years old right now. I was mainly focused on baseball during high school. So I played a few sports growing up and put most of my energy into baseball. I wanted to play college baseball, and I didn't get the opportunity to. And it was super frustrating for me because I knew that I was better than a lot of guys that did get the opportunity. So I couldn't compete in sports anymore, but I was a big reality TV fan. So I wanted to compete as an individual and go out and win a reality TV show. That was the plan. So there were really 3 that caught my eye: Big Brother on CBS, Survivor on CBS, and then The Challenge on MTV. And I decided to go the MTV route. I saw this survival show, and I had also enlisted into the Texas Army National Guard as an airborne infantryman.
Okay.
So I had some experience like pushing myself to my limits and like being miserable outside and then during the elements. So it was right up my alley. They got on Stranded with $1 million. I dominated that show. It was just perfect for me. It was really awesome. There's only one season, so it was perfect timing too. That was when I was 22. It aired when I was 23, and then that kind of opened my eyes to like you can make money unconventional ways. You don't have to go to college, get a 9-to-5. And I knew this already, but it was just like it gave me confidence because I made $125,000, then after taxes kept like 85. But then
it's a pretty nice get.
Yeah, it was a great kickstart for sure, and I learned a lot through that. But one thing too is like a lot of people, the first time they saw me was winning that show, so that's all they saw was the big win, but they didn't see all the hard work before that. So now on social media, I try to document as much as I can because right now I feel like I have it figured out pretty well, but I know that I'll crush it eventually. Like eventually something's going to work really well for me and I'll become a multimillionaire and hopefully make a lot of money and help a lot of other people make a lot of money. But I want to document those struggles from now until then so that when that day comes, it's not like people just see me driving around in a sports car with a mansion. They see they can go back and watch the videos, 2017, 2018, 2019, when I'm just on the come up.
We should have Cody do that. He just gave me a good idea. Maybe Cody could be the new Mr. Beast on YouTube of sports with us. He could document us betting sports, going to Vegas, Cody giving back money. I mean, Cody obviously has the experience of being on television. He could kind of translate that to doing something like that. He'd be good at that. I mean, I think you get a lot of views. I mean, you being a celebrity on YouTube will pay you just as much, right, Cody? I mean, some of these guys that are pulling in 20 million views, how much are they making?
I would say so. The entrepreneurship niche, so just like entrepreneurship content, and then sports betting, I feel like are the most profitable niches I've seen. So those are two of my biggest interests. So I do the sports betting education channel, where I go by James. So my full name's Cody James Dunlap. But it also was to kind of just to build two separate like independent brands. So I have the entrepreneurship with Cody Thrive, and then I have the sports betting where I try to do like free picks and then just sports betting strategies, like using statistics and stuff and strategies that like successful bettors use. But yeah, and then also when I apply for shows, a lot of times they don't talk to me because they want new fresh characters. They don't want people that have been on TV before. So I apply using my middle name, and then I show them sports betting education, and then on Instagram and YouTube. That way they're like, oh yeah, this guy hasn't been on, his name's changed.
So what happens when they find out that you actually have been on? I wonder what would happen.
So I think eventually they would find out, but the hope is that they've already like fallen in love with me as a character and wanting me in whatever role they envision me having on the show. And then they kind of let it slide. They're like, oh, the Stranded was a long time ago. It's fine. But if I let them know that right out of the gates, then these first people you talk to when you go through the casting process are like the lower level casting employees. They're just trained to they're trained to delete all the people that have already been on shows.
I see.
I really have to get through those first few levels before I let them know that I've been on before. So that's why a lot of people get confused because there's a lot of sketchy people selling picks,
Sure.
So when they see, oh, is your name Cody or James or whatever, that's the reason. I tell everyone that, but you still have the trolls, and that's probably the competition.
You don't say.
Burner
you don't say. Trolls, not in this business.
So someone might be wondering that, but I'm gonna hit sports betting education channel. I hope to hit pretty hard this summer. So I started last baseball season. The two sports I really enjoy handicapping are baseball and football. And I haven't really branched out too much outside of that. So I think what I'll probably do, man, is just keep like making predictions for those two sports and stick to that. And then another thing I preach on my both my YouTube channels is diversifying your your portfolio and having multiple streams of income.
Okay.
So right now, I'm sure a lot of people are hurting from not setting that up. If they only had one stream of income and it's being taken away by what's going on, then they're probably feeling that. Whereas for me, like, yes, there are some things that are hurting, but I also have other ways that I'm making money too, that are actually making more money because of this.
Right.
So don't just rely on, like, okay, so some of these people that sell picks, they act like their only stream of income is betting on sports. That should never be the case. I think if you were to find and interview the most successful sports bettors of all time, like, they have made a profit betting on sports and they've grown their net worth and their wealth, but it's not like that's the only thing they're doing, right. I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would agree or disagree.
I agree completely. As far as you, I see I've actually purchased shoes from you before. Like, you got this oh
yeah, that's right.
you flip shoes. You go to these outlet malls and you get these bomb ass deals, you use coupons, he does all this stuff, Joe. And then next thing I know, he's out there, hey, he's selling shoes. By the way, I want to know, did you ever sell those Houston Rocket boots? I remember you bought those things like a year ago.
Yeah, I think I sold them all. I didn't make a huge profit on them, but I did move them successfully.
So, I appreciate the hustle. Then I see you're talking about stocks a lot now on your Instagram. Right now is a good time to buy. At least last week, I know it was. I don't know if it's up again today.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's a lot of opportunity in the stock market right now. Dow Jones is up, but a lot of the travel companies are down, and those are the ones that I like to target right now. And it's a long-term vision with the stock market. And I preach to have a longer-term vision, especially compared to what a lot of people think when they think about betting on sports.
Right.
Long-term vision, and you're more likely to be successful in the end. A lot of people just want to, like, 10x their money in a week, and that's when we get burned. And that helps us, though. That helps guys like us three, because those are the people that make sure the casinos stay profitable.
Sure.
And they allow us to make some profit betting on sports, because they can still stay in business even though we're taking money from them.
Right.
Hopefully. They're making so much money on people that want to 10x their money in 1 week that it helps us.
Yeah, that's the issue that we see here all the time, right, Joe? Where people just they try to get rich quick overnight, and they don't realize it's a long-term process. With it's just like it's a grind. It's not this gloriness where you can grab a parlay. You just keep throwing parlays into the wind, and then hope you hit it big. It's like, might as well just play lottery tickets the whole time.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it has to be good. It has to be a business. And the way I bet, I just same thing. I look at it as like making certain bets. I win or lose. If I make my $300, $200 quota, I'm done for the day. I'm done. I move on. And people just want to keep betting. I noticed that. It's just, I do that too. It's like, oh, I'm winning. I've won 4 games in a row. Let me keep betting. Oh, the Dodgers already won. The Yankees, my first 2 bets. Oh, let me see if the Blue Jays will win at night. Let me bet the first 5. You just keep pressing it. And as you press it, I think that's when you have more chances of losing. I mean, it's just like stocks. It's like anything. You keep pressing your luck or keep pushing the odds of more bets, more investments, more things. You're going to lose. I don't know. I've always believed that less is more sometimes in betting and anything. But I don't know. What do you think, Cody? I mean,
so I try to isolate my picks to where one pick doesn't determine doesn't affect the other. So some days, like for me, I think that if you have an edge, then you should put money down on that, no matter if you've made 10 bets that day or if you've made 0. Now, whenever you have clients and you are obligated to give 1 pick a day, then obviously it's a little different. But you should find value in 1 pick a day at least, especially when you have. Yeah. So I try to, and then live betting is a different beast. I think you do a lot of live betting, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's my main of my, like, I guess income wise, a lot of live betting. So yeah,
I think what you said, I agree with on live betting. And then if you're doing like straight bets beforehand, then I don't put as many limitations. I just make sure that I feel like I have enough of an edge to justify it. With live betting, it is a different beast where it's more dangerous and there can be more emotions and more momentum, and the momentum can control the emotions. But there's so much freaking opportunity in live betting. I love it, man. So it's just live betting is different though. To get live bets, like whenever you're making picks for people or predictions for people, it is different getting it out there. But so yeah, I agree with that. And then I would just say, like, for me, I don't have a problem with like betting too much, like too many picks or too few picks a day, as long as I am making sure that each prediction is separate from the last one or the next one.
Sure. If you feel like you're having a discernible edge, then you really feel that way and you really have broken it down, then F it. That means you're putting yourself in a positive expectation, in my opinion. So, all right, Cody, what's your let's talk about it a little bit. What's your favorite baseball team, man? Who you rooting for?
I want to hear this one.
I always root for the Oakland A's. Since I've got
shit.
All right. Wait, first of all, Cody, where were you? I want to know. I know you're in Austin, Texas. Really back up. But where were you actually born, if you don't mind telling us? Are you a native Californian, native Texan?
No. So I was born in Fort Lewis, so Tacoma, Washington.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So you should be a Seattle fan, but it's okay then.
But my family moved to San Antonio when I was real young, so I spent most of my life in San Antonio.
Oh wow!
And San Antonio, is obviously I'm a big Spurs fan, but the other sports, I didn't just root for Houston or Dallas teams because they're in my same state, because they're like 4 hours away.
Sure.
So I kind of just picked teams when I was young and then just stayed loyal to them over the years. But I will say with sports betting, I just love sports betting so much because you're in control of your success or failures. I mean, obviously there's an element of control that you have, but it's fun because you can put in the work and you can see the reward. Whereas I can't tell you how many times I feel like as a fan, like especially in high school, when I was rooting for teams and I felt like I wanted my team to win more than some of the players on the team. And I was just like, man, like, it's so frustrating. This guy that might not even take this that serious. It's just all natural talent. He's not even that passionate towards competing. It's just God gifted. So sports betting I like a lot more because it's like I'm competing again as an individual.
Sure, I agree completely.
The value.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, that's why, I wear the Dodgers and I like my team. But to me, if I have to fade the Dodgers, and I remember you seeing a lot of my videos because I used to see you comment on my videos, I would fade them. I would say they're not going to win today. Kershaw's not looking good, or whoever, and I would fade them. It doesn't matter. To me, it's a business. And I try not to do that. I stay away from my team if I have to bet against it, or I'll say, look, I feel that my team is not going to win today because this, and that. But in general, I do agree. You have to be no emotion when you bet. It's just you're in control, but don't let your emotions get to you. Yeah. Exactly. That's like the worst thing that can happen.
I'll be the first one to throw my team under the bus if I can make $1. The only time I have an issue with any of that, because obviously I'm a Houston fan, is when the playoffs come around. I have to check myself, and and I tell the boys, I'm like, look, I was like, yes, the Astros are beating the Nationals Game 7, but the things I'm looking at from a fan point of view. And I'm just letting them deal with it. I'm like, hey, I'm stepping away because I'm too invested in this as a fan. But it's only during the playoffs. Now, during the regular season, I can give a shit what happens. So, I'm trying to make that money. During the playoffs, I know that I just have to be careful. So I back off of it and let the boys help out.
That's good. So,
yeah, Joe, your Dodgers picks are awesome. I'm sure you'll do it again this year, but it's good to see because someone unbiased but breaking down predictions for their team. Because I feel as a Seahawks fan, I see so much that the public and the sports networks, when they cover the Seahawks, they just miss. And it creates so much opportunity if you're able to bet for and against your team unbiased as you can. You can make so much profit. I remember betting on Mahomes at Texas Tech a ton and having so much success there. Seahawks picks, all the local college teams. But I was gonna ask you something about that. I forget, but I do enjoy watching that, and it is. I feel like that's a good way to approach things if you just focus on one or two teams and then capitalize. What do you guys think about like using? So for me, if I was going to bet on a Dodgers game, I would watch your video before I would watch your video to at least fact check whatever I had.
Right.
What do you guys think about? I've been thinking about this on my own, kind of. What do you guys think about so many people put out videos on sports predictions? Do you guys ever watch anyone else's video during your research, or do you read anyone else's write-ups during your research?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so watching videos, no. Typically because when I'm doing my videos, I feel like I'm one of the first people out there to put it on YouTube because like I'm getting up at 6:30 in the morning to do these things with Philly, and I don't think there's a lot of people have already posted videos that early. And then not only that, but because it's so early in the morning, I just would be just so much information in my opinion. Now I do look at some websites that just try to where I go to get stats like Covers or Vegas Insider, but I never really read anybody's breakdown and then like just copy what they're saying. But so for me, it's a negative. But maybe I would watch other people's videos if I were producing my videos later in the day. I mean, I wouldn't be totally against it just because it's information. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have the biggest issue, I guess, to answer in a nutshell. I have the biggest issue I have with other people's videos, which I do watch, is the bottom line is, do they bet their own games? Whatever you're telling the people on the video, are you betting it yourself? And I remember you watching your videos a while back, Cody, that where you say, I'm betting this, and maybe because you bet on MTV, right? But you sound believable. I'm like, this guy probably really bets his game. Mm-hmm. In contrast to some guys, I don't want to mention any names here, but that they're not betting that game, especially when they're yelling off the top of their lungs saying 10 units. They're not even betting that game.
Yeah.
So why would I, even as a fan, as an investor, as or whatever, believe that or even want to follow that? So I think that's the most important thing for me. If I'm not betting the game, I'm not giving it out. Period. I have to bet it with my own money. If I'm believing what I'm saying, and so that's to me that's the most important thing. Is I bet what I say, period. And I just, whether in live or in pre, and that's just important to me. I mean, I just can't give random picks, and I have to see the people on the YouTube say, okay, oh, you know what, that's good information. I kind of agree with that. I'll probably make that bet or keep that in the back of my mind on a live bet if it comes up or something. So I don't know. That's just the way I feel. It's just
I think for me, I think like in general, people, it's frowned upon. Like if you're a handicapper, you look at another handicapper's like predictions and stuff like that. But for me, it's always a race, man, because when the lines, like for daily sports, like for baseball specifically, for football, you have so much time. You have time to get all your information and stuff. But for baseball, it's such a race where the lines come out and then it's a matter of like 12 to 14 hours or whatever to, I guess, closer to 20 hours or so to get a bet down. So there's no way you can analyze all of the teams, all of the games. But if you're doing a research and you're looking at, like, if I look at somebody who puts in 4 hours of research and see what their best points are, and then someone else who puts 4 hours and see their best points, then it's almost as if you used 100 hours of research, 100. And obviously these people have to be legit. Like there's a lot of people to avoid, like you guys mentioned, but I do think there's value in that. And I think also with people that watch this channel and people that watch my channel, I'm sure they're watching multiple videos. Like, I don't know, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but I'm sure there's some that if they're going to bet on the Lakers game, they watch every Lakers video just to see if there's any nuggets. And some of them they'll watch for 4 minutes and they'll take nothing from it because they feel like stupid points. But then they might find a nugget here and here. So I don't know. It's just something I've been kind of thinking about. It's interesting to see how the sports consulting, like, I guess, thing is evolving with sports betting getting bigger. It's just so new to the YouTube picks and stuff like that. Yeah. But I obviously really believe in it. I mean, I've been running sports betting education channel, and I think that as long as your clients, like especially season-long clients, as long as they leave the season with a sharper sports betting mind than when they started the season, and that's like the big goal for me.
Yeah, and that's why I stress to everybody, and I've mentioned it on every video, is come join our Discord. It's our private group, and we're literally talking sports 24/7. There's somebody in there talking. Well, maybe not so much now with the coronavirus, but I mean, well, actually, there is quite a few people in there breaking down Turkish soccer. But the thing is it's just It's such a great tool, and
Yeah.
it's free to it's free. It's a free tool, and we're all in there and breaking stuff down 24/7 and trying to find edges. And and it's just a wealth of information. So it's just if you're one of those people that are looking at a random Lakers game and you want to bounce some ideas off people, then you should come join this private group. We got like 900 people in here, and I don't know, man. If it's information, I'll take it, no matter where it comes from. Now, like you said, you have to be careful where you're getting that info, because some people, all it is just a sales pitch. Hey, guys, where the worst is when you go to some of these people's pages and all they talk about for the first 4 or 5 minutes is how awesome they are and what their 20 unit play is or whatever, and then they get into their free pick, and then it's no breakdown at all. It's just like, oh, I'm taking the Marshall Thundering Herd, and then that's it. And you're like, okay, why? Whatever. It's like, those are frustrating. But when you identify those people, then you realize they're just selling you something. There's no substance to it.
Yeah, and I think over the next couple of years, hopefully sooner than later, people get washed out. That it'll get more and more competitive. Mm-hmm. Right now, the amount of people buying picks versus selling is lopsided to where anyone can go on there, talk about themselves for 5 minutes, no breakdown, and make a lot of money selling picks. That's something I experienced firsthand when I first came onto YouTube, giving out predictions. I saw it and I didn't like it, so I kind of broke free and went off on my own, started my own channel and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I was at first it made me really mad, because I'm like, dude, these people barely even know sports. They're not that intelligent as far as statistics, probability, predictive analysis. That group I was with bet on their favorite teams and stuff like that, and would never bet against their favorite team. Just super sketchy, but they were making so much money, and it made me angry. But also it showed me if you do this the right way, you can make a lot of money and help a lot of people, and create hopefully a community with sports consulting where there's so many legit sports consultants out there. It'll make it very difficult for the ones that aren't legit to make the money that they're able to make right now. Hopefully a couple years from now, it'll be very difficult to make money selling write-ups unless you're actually know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? That's a very good point, Cody, because speaking of different platforms, that's why I like YouTube, and me and Jared have spoken about this off camera a lot, because on Twitter, mainly Twitter, I guess I'm going to attack here. Anybody can be anybody. You can you hide behind an anonymous name or a made up name, and you could spew all kinds of this, pick and that, and get people to get sucked in. And you might not even watch sports. You might not even know who the Dodgers or the Astros first baseman is. I mean, it's to me, that's really the most frustrating thing about this business, is that people that are, I would say 80% of people that are in there that are capping don't know what the heck they're talking about sports. They don't even know, like I said, they can't even name you any players on the game. They don't even watch the games. Mm-hmm. And that's very, very frustrating, because I'm a fan first, I'm a sports lover, and then I'm a bettor. You have to, like what you said about the Cactus League, but you're bummed out, and I believe you, because, you're passionate about it. You want to see these players play. You want to see these new players. You want, if you're like the Blue Jays, you want to see Vladdy hit in spring training. It's exciting. And then on that, you turn that into, like I said, betting and your knowledge. And I don't know, especially in baseball. Mm-hmm. It's the number one sport I love to bet, because so much statistics, so much analytics is involved. And I love it. I love the way baseball is like a chess game. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me. That's my favorite sport to bet. That's why I'm so bummed it's not on right now. So yeah. I don't know.
No doubt, man. And the way it is, and a lot of people need it to be described to them. I'm sure people watching this video probably already understand it, where clients are getting value, but a lot of my clients, man, they have families, they have jobs, they don't have time to watch the amount of baseball that I am able to consume. Fortunately, I have a lot more time to do that, and I'm so passionate towards that. I'm obsessed with it, where I can watch two irrelevant teams that are not in playoff contention, and I can be focused and studying. There's people that want to bet and they want to feel the rush of gambling on the games, but they aren't willing to put in that work. So that's where there's opportunity for us all to win and help each other, where It's like they're hiring me, like they're paying me to go
Mm-hmm.
do the hard work for them that way. And same thing happens with the stock market, man. People manage stock market funds, and people pay them to do that because they're not interested in it. And some people are interested. So it makes a lot of sense to me. And I think that sports consulting will get more and more respect as more legitimate, like handicappers and groups like you guys, like I consider myself, like Wager Talk, I think really highly of them, step into the game and like keep delivering value.
All right. Well, what do you think about? So I already know what you think, but I'm going to go ahead and open it up to you. So we got this coronavirus going on here. We're going to switch gears, and so first off, what have you been doing during the break? Have you just been chilling at the house, or well, what's it look like for Cody during this lockdown?
So it's honestly, it's worked out really well for me as an entrepreneur. Like entrepreneurship's always about adapting and overcoming obstacles and problem solving. So it's nothing new to me. To me, I look at it as a great opportunity. And I think that for me, this is going to be a time where I capitalize in many ways. I think the coolest things that I'm doing though, man, are recruiting for my sales team. So I'm building a sales team that we're going to go out and, sell this summer, and we're selling security packages, so smart homes. So I know you might not have heard that, so I'm going to repeat it real quick. So I'm building like entrepreneurship's about solving problems. So I'm building a sales team which is solving a problem of people who are not making income. And then we're going to go sell smart home packages like cameras, security system, garage door openers, where you can control it all from an app on your phone.
Okay.
So that a lot of people are feeling like uneasy or not as safe as they were a couple months ago. So it gives them peace of mind to have that smart home installed. So I'm focused on those two things right now. And then obviously I'll get back into the sports betting when sports come back. But I'm just trying to help people like make money so that they can afford the necessities in life, you know?
Yeah, selling a security system in these times probably an easy sell, I would imagine.
Yeah, so that's why I say like this thing has probably helped me a lot with a couple of things I do. I mean, obviously it's hurt me in many ways, but I'm putting my effort and energy into the things that make sense. So building my team, helping people. So it hurts me with the shoes. Like I can't source inventory because Nike's closed and Adidas are closed. And then sports betting education, of course, is losing a lot of momentum, but I'll put my energy back into those things whenever there's opportunity there.
Sure. Yeah. So talk to me about your thoughts about this virus. I've seen some maybe somewhat controversial stuff on your Instagram story.
Like,
tell me what you think.
I mean, so like there's two types of people, and 95% of people, they'll get their information from social media or TV, and they'll listen to what other people tell them. And I think it's interesting that we're on Sports Gambling Daily talking about this, because if you know anything about statistics and numbers, a lot of sports handicappers, they'll say things like, "Oh, I'm on a 6-2 run."
Sure.
6-2 run means they're on a 6-3 run, maybe even worse, because they're going to present that information to where it sounds the best.
Sounds the best.
So 6-2 means 9 games ago they lost that pick. But they're not going to say I'm 6-3. They're going to say they're 6-2. So I feel like this thing, like when I first heard about it, it was super scary. They're saying that you can carry this for 14 days without any symptoms. It's 3 times as contagious as the flu. 3% of people that get it will die. And the numbers aren't being backed up. Like that original thing they were saying isn't being backed up by the numbers now. But even when you see the numbers now, you have to consider the death count. Obviously, everybody that dies from coronavirus is being tallied in the death count. And then there are so many people that get it that don't show symptoms or get a fever for a few days, drink Gatorade, and never get tested. We don't have the test. We don't have the test to test. So that means that the number of cases is far higher than what they present to us.
Sure.
And then the number of deaths I thought was accurate, but it might even be inaccurate, because they might be counting people who die from the flu as dying from coronavirus right now. And they might just be lumping all those people into that death total.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's nearly as scary as people are saying, but at the same time, I always focus on things that are in my control in life. So I can't control if we're all self-quarantining or if we're all going out. Like, that's not my decision to make, but I can control the effort, where I put my effort and energy. So that's why I'm taking effort away from sports betting education for the time being, taking effort away from sourcing shoes because I literally can't, and then putting it towards helping people find jobs, and then helping people with the security systems.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know if you heard this, Joe. I'm sure you heard this, Cody, but in Louisiana-Texas border, they are not letting car travel. If you're coming from Louisiana, you have to go into a quarantine.
I didn't know that. I mean, they were talking about New York. That was a travel restriction. So,
dude, that's insane, man. I did not know that. That's crazy.
They instituted it yesterday in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
I mean, it makes sense though, because if you think about it, if people are just running around in a high quotes, hotspot area, you don't want those people coming in. I mean, that's what I'm saying to you. New York has been a hotspot area because people live on top of each other. They were talking about the same thing with LA, but over here in LA, it's a little different. We live more in the suburbs. We do have a downtown, but not a lot of people live in downtown per se compared to New York, where you're all on an island. Sure. You see what I'm saying? So, hopefully numbers are not as bad here in LA County, but the governor's still taking the precautions. I don't know. I kind of go with Cody. I think the numbers and statistics, I think is much more than, it's less than they're saying people recovered, but I think always what sells more is hype and fear, so people are scared.
Yeah. So I look at the business model of someone who makes money off of a YouTube channel or someone who makes money off of a television network. Mm-hmm. The way they make money is selling advertisement.
Yeah.
The way that they sell ads is by showing their view count. So if they have more views, they can sell more ads or sell their ads for more money.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about something scary, like if you're talking about this, like ending humanity or killing 45 million people, it's going to draw more attention. It's going to be more interesting to watch than if you say, yeah, this isn't as serious as the flu. Like, it's really not a big deal. Then people are going to, it's not as fun, not as exciting to watch for people. Right. But also, there obviously could be much bigger motives behind certain things. Like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. I haven't done a ton of research on that, like, because I feel like it's not my most productive use of time, but there are some crazy things possible too. But
you're right, because if you're watching conspiracy theory videos, then you don't have any time to watch Ozark season 3 or Narcos Mexico. I've pretty much finished all of Netflix, so I got to find something else to do.
Have you seen the Tiger Kings or whatever that number
I
one?
am episode 4 or 3 of.
What is that about? I have not seen one episode.
Have you seen that, Cody?
No, man. I'm doing pretty productive stuff. Like, I'm actually, so
you don't have time for that.
Hey, y'all better have some good futures write-ups on the MLB stuff. Well, it's hard with the win totals, but I guess you can just try to make predictions on
what I'm doing
winners in NFL.
What I'm doing with MLB is I'm going through every team on my app and memorizing every player like I was when I was a kid. I had my baseball cards, like I was telling Jared, and I love that. So I'm trying to just know every single player coming up on the roster because I know pretty much all of them. If you tell me, all right, who's the Dodgers shortstop? Okay, who's the, but there's some players I don't. So I have to, especially with all new. So that's what I'm doing with my time. It's just memorizing, every single players that are actually on an active roster as of,
Who's the Astros backup center fielder?
Astros backup center fielder. Would that be what's his name? That ran into our boy at the plate for the Angel. No,
he's no longer on the team.
He's no longer on the team. I know who is it? I don't know. Jordan's first base.
His last name's Straw. I don't forget his first name. Miles Straw, I think is his name.
Miles Straw.
He's supposed to be the fastest player in the Major League Baseball.
And he's the backup. He's still in minor league, or he's on the active roster?
No, he's on the. He's should be on the active roster.
Okay, so. All right. That's what I haven't got the Astros yet. I'm on the Reds. I'm trying to memorize the Reds here.
Well, the Reds I think they're gonna have a little bit of they're gonna make some noise this year if we get to play.
I think the A's are gonna be at a little bit of I know it's Cody's team. I think they might fall off a little bit because they've been doing so good for the past 3 years, man, or even 4. They've always seemed to do good with less. So I don't know if this year maybe they don't. I don't know if they fall off. I mean, I don't know. Maybe baseball is just such a good sport where you think of teams that are not on paper, they don't look great, but then they put it together. They have good runs.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would agree with that. I thought the A's were overvalued last year, but they performed. Yeah. I think that the Astros, man, are going to have a really good year because they're going to be pissed off. Obviously, it's interesting. What do you guys think of the Astros? Because obviously cheating helps, and the way they were cheating helped so tremendously. If you know the pitches, it's such a massive advantage.
Sure.
But I think they have enough guys that don't need that advantage.
Yeah.
Josh Reddick, I think, is going to have a horrible year because I think he was definitely benefiting from that.
He was already playing awful. He was already one of the worst players on the team. He's batting ninth on the team.
Dude, I thought Josh Reddick, I was like, how the hell is he doing this? Because every time I watched him with the A's, I was like, man, all you got to do is throw him like sliders away and he chases everything.
Yeah.
But he was doing pretty good. So I think he for sure is going to suck. I'm calling that now. But I think the Astros have enough guys that will be fine with just the extra motivation and take the advantage that they were cheating away.
Yeah.
That they'll actually come out and dominate. And, I never seem to be high on the Oakland A's. I always think, well, these past couple of years especially, I think they're overvalued. But I think Astros will win the division and probably have the Angels come in second.
I think they'll also beat the Yankees as well. That's just my own personal opinion. All right, guys, I got to run. It looks like my daughter needs to get on Zoom, so she can do some schoolwork or something. But Cody, man, I appreciate you coming on with us, man.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you, Cody. I'd like to.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of y'all's channel, both of you guys. So I look forward to. I had fun meeting you, Joe, and talking to you guys on the channel, and I look forward to y'all's videos. Hopefully soon. Hopefully in a month or two.
Yeah, for sure. And we got to do this again, man. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Anytime. I'm always down.
All right.
All right.
Good luck to you. Good luck to me. Good luck to everybody, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.
See you later.